Hello, and welcome back to the UFred10 podcast series. So if you missed last week's episode, my name is Sarah Chesson, and I work in the Marketing and Communications Department here at the University of Fredericton. On today's episode, we have Certificate in Health, Safety, and Environmental Processes alumna Melanie Powers here to speak with us about her time at UFred. Melanie's interest in health and safety began in 2007 when she was given the opportunity to work on the small Eastern Caribbean island of Canoan on an airport expansion project for an international construction company. She later returned to the island in 2010 to work as a maintenance manager for 2 years before returning to Canada and deciding that she wanted to make safety her new career. Melanie completed the UFred C-SHIP program in 1 year, graduating in 2015. She's currently working as an occupational health and safety advisor for C&E Refractories and is based in New Brunswick. So welcome to the podcast, Melanie.
Thank you, Sarah.
Just to get started here, could you tell us a little bit about yourself, Melanie?
Well, I grew up in a small town called Minto. For those who don't know much about New Brunswick, Minto is a coal mining community, and I lived there with my mom and my grandparents, and it was a very small town, not a lot to do. After I graduated from high school, I then went to Fredericton and spent some time there in college and took some graphic design courses. And then I did a lot of traveling after that, and then I had my children and traveled some more. Now I'm here.
That's fantastic. So what was it about UFred that drove you to pursue your education?
After I had come back from the Caribbean the first time, I knew there was a need for safety. In my world anyway, because I'm a mom of two and I'm always on the lookout for my kids, and I guess I use my paranoia to my advantage. So I figured the second time I had returned and come back, I thought, well, I need to pursue this more. So I decided to I did some research on the courses that were given. So I took the time and I interviewed some people who had questions, some people I knew had taken the courses who were in the industry. And I just found that UFred provided exactly what I was looking for. I could manage my home life with my children. I could manage university, and I could also manage a part-time job if I needed to while I was taking the courses. So that's why I chose UFred for my career advancement.
That's fantastic. So how have you found your education at UFred? Have you found that it's enhanced your career?
Absolutely. I could not compete with my colleagues in the industry if I didn't have that. I know hands down. Having the university background now on my resume has provided me with options that would never have been available had I not had that.
That's fantastic. And you mentioned that as a mom that you've got safety on the mind and that kind of thing. So do you find that your UFred education has also helped your sort of professional or your personal academic life, kind of full spectrum?
Absolutely, yeah. It's funny because I'm a bit of a smother helicopter mom, and I know it's annoying to my children sometimes because I'm overprotective and overbearing, but it's good for me. I mean, that's just how my mind works. I'm always in that mode of, seatbelts on, don't chew bubble gum while you're on your bicycle. I'm always that something bad could happen, so let's correct it. Let's put in let's eliminate the hazards before you actually get hurt. So that's how my mind works.
That's
so yeah,
great.
Definitely, it's enhanced it. Maybe not to my children's benefit, they feel, but it is. I understand. I'm annoying.
That's great. So, Melanie, if you had to pick a standout moment from your UFred education, what do you think it would be?
Well, the guided practicum, I guess, at the very end would have been the standout moment for me. I got the opportunity to look at other students' guided practicums as well. Don Sayers had been wonderful throughout the whole process. He really gave me some guidance and showed me other projects, and that was the best part of it. And hands down, at that time, I had done my guided practicum on. I created a safety manual for my family, and they have a drilling and blasting company, so that gave me the experience as well to jump out of that into a new career in drilling and blasting. So it was good.
Fantastic. I'm glad to hear it.
Yep.
So are you applying today what you learned at UFred then? It sounds like you are in your current job.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yep. I'm doing contract work for C&E Refractories and Ref Tech. And a lot of what they do, 90% of everything they do is high hazard, high risk. They're masons, they're in confined spaces, they're in areas like at the refinery where there's different types of hazards that you're not accustomed to outside of those gates. So definitely using the skills and the what I've learned from you, Fred, to put forward to what I'm doing today with the company.
So where do you see yourself going, both professionally or academically, now that you're finished UFred?
Academically, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my CRSP designation, my national designation, and professionally, I will remain in Canada for a little while, and I'll work probably in the Maritime provinces, maybe do a bit of work out west. And my main goal, though, my heart belongs in the Caribbean, so I really think that at some point I'd like to work with a couple of people there that I know, and it's in the talks now. We're actually having conversations wrapped around this safety in the Caribbean, but they're so far behind, and people are getting hurt, and it's unnecessary. It's basic PPE. That's your last line of defense against an injury, and these people don't even have the basic PPE. So for me to go back down and be in that country and give provide some guidance and teach them how to protect themselves. And of course, it's a great place to live and a great place to retire, but that would be my goal, to become a consultant perhaps for some construction companies or some other companies down there that I know of who really could use some assistance.
That's great. That's so good to hear. It sounds like you've had a fairly positive experience with UFred, which is great. So what would you say you're proudest of after having completed your education with UFred?
The fact that I'm able to go out into the workforce and actually work in the field that I studied. And I have confidence in it. I don't know that if I had not taken that course, university course, I don't know that I would feel as confident with my abilities in health and safety. But taking that course, it's definitely improved my confidence level, and I'm able to go out there, and I have no worries, no concerns about being employed, even in New Brunswick where employment is minimal. I feel confident that it'll just keep going.
That's fantastic. I'm glad to hear it. So, Melanie, before we let you go here, is there anything else that you'd like to tell us about your UFred experience?
Yeah, I just wanted to mention the appreciation I had at the time being a busy mom and having a lot of my plate. Just the fact that when I was late, there was no panic. That the university worked with me to give me a little bit extra time to get through my course. And I completed the 2-year course in 1 year, so I took a lot on for myself and my situation at the time, but just the kindness of your team, and it was the cooperation between them and myself, being able to muster my way through the course and giving me the time I needed to finish it. And I guess that's huge. And the fact that you guys were right in Fredericton, for me, that was big as well. I was able to go down and meet everybody there at the time when I started the course, and to meet with Don and to meet with Steve. It was great. It was a great experience all the way around.
I'm so glad to hear it. You're the second person that I've heard so far who's been able to meet the UFred team, and we're always thrilled when we get to. So that's great, Melanie.